Today we're talking pork butt, and I realize I've got a lot of videos out there, but I didn't have one on just a basic style pork butt. I've got the competition style covered, how to trim it and all that, but sometimes you just want to cook a good eating pork butt and you want the maximum yield out of it. And that's what I say when we cook a regular pork butt. We're talking about getting the most out of the butt. Now, I've got right at an 8-pound Compart Duroc pork butt, and I'm cooking Compart Duroc meat. It's the best tasting pork. They grow it just for flavor. Now, it's a heritage breed of hog that it doesn't have all the flavor bred out of it like some of these supermarket butts that you're getting today. And if you want to check them out, I'll put a link in the description. It's CompartDuroc.com. The Duroc breed is really tasty. It has a lot more marbling in the meat. You'll see this meat is redder. It's kind of more of a natural color than some of that, the pork, the other white meat. Well, pork's really not white, it's red. True pork is, and that's the way this Compart meat looks. I'm not going to do a whole lot to it. There's no trimming. We're wanting to get the most out of this pork butt, but I do have to use a binder to get my seasoning to stick. Now, I choose yellow mustard, and you just want to get a good coat on it. You can use peanut oil, you can use regular canola oil, whatever you want, but mustard, it's not going to bring a whole lot of flavor to the game. But what it is going to do, it's going to help give us a vehicle for the rub to stick. And some of the vinegar in it does tenderize just a little bit. Now, of course, I want to do all sides, so even the fat side. Now, when I'm cooking pork just to eat, and I'm cooking this on my Yoder pellet grill today, I'm going to be cooking it fat down. A lot of people ask me why cook fat down or fat up, or what's the benefit? Well, in competition cooking, we usually cook fat up. Our heat comes in from a different location on our competition cookers. I'm using these vertical water cookers, and the heat's rolling down from the top and coming out the bottom. On the Yoder, the heat source is coming from the bottom and radiating up and around. So you want to orient the fat on whatever meat, if it's brisket, if it's pork butt, shoulder, whatever, to where the fat is on the bottom to protect the meat. And that's the kind of the trick to getting your meat to turn out more juicy, more tender. I'm not injecting this pork butt today. Competition style, you see me make injections and pump them full. Well, I want the flavor of this Compart pork to shine through. We're cooking this one low and slow, right about 225 to 235 degrees in that range. I'm gonna hold it all day, and it's gonna cook. And I'll monitor the internal temperature. The only thing we'll do, I'll show you, is we're gonna wrap it about halfway through just to make sure it stays extra moist and juicy, doesn't get too much smoke. But we're gonna stay real simple on the seasonings. Now, I'm using my Killer Hogs the BBQ Rub. It's got some really good flavors to it that makes some outstanding pulled pork. It's got just the right amount of sugar and salt and pepper, and of course it's got some paprika for some color. And then it's got some different chili powders and herbs that give it some really good flavor. And go ahead and season that fat side just a little bit. You don't need a much on it because you're not eating that. That's going to be on the bottom. A lot of it's going to render away. But you just want to get a good coating of the rub on it. And that's what a seasoned pork butt should look like before it hits the grill. Glove off here, kind of tilt it up. You can see the color it's got, and the mustard's really making it stick. And as long as you let it sit here while we fire up our grill, it's going to get real tacky, and it's going to start absorbing some of the salt and some of the sugar flavors, and those herbs are going to get trapped inside the meat. That's where we're developing our bark, and that's what good pulled pork is supposed to have. We're not going for the oversauced, glazed up look today that it takes to wow the judges. We're getting some pulled pork that everyone's gonna love, that you can sit down and you can make a sandwich out of. You can use it for making pizza, whatever you want. And we're gonna go outside now, get the grill fired up, and we'll get this pork butt on in just a few minutes. Stick around. While my grill's coming up to temp and we're gonna get ready to put this pork butt on, I'm getting one of my pork racks ready, and this just makes moving a Boston butt, a pork butt, around on the grill easier. And I just always give it a good little spray with just regular vegetable oil cooking spray. This just to keep things from sticking to it, makes it clean up easier. This makes transporting the pork butt or anything that you're cooking on it from the grill back inside later much easier. So that's why I use these. Okay, now that the Yoder's up to temp, I'm gonna get some gloves on here to keep my hands a little clean. We're gonna get this pork butt on. See, I got a little smoke rolling here. I'm using some pecan pellets, the BBQ's Delight today, mixed with a little bit of cherry, so I'll get a really good color and smoke ring. But I'm gonna put this pork rack on. And then we just center up this pork butt on the rack. Let it cook right in the center of this Yoder on the 480. And we're going to monitor the temperature throughout the cook later on in the process. Right now we just want to get some smoke in it and get it started cooking. I know it's going to take about an hour per pound setting at 225, 230 degrees on this Yoder. That's just the typical time that a pork butt takes. I'll let it smoke about halfway through to really get some good smoke penetration, get some flavor built up, start making my bark. Then I'm going to wrap the pork butt up so it'll get tender. That's pretty much the two-step process for cooking a pork butt. We've got our mustard binder on it. We've got our dry rub on it. Now we're getting it in the smoke, which it really loves. So hang with me and we'll show you how we cook this pork butt. Okay, we're working on about the 3-hour mark on our pork butt, and I wanted to come out and just let you take a sneak peek, and we're going to go ahead and start monitoring the internal temperature. It's got some good color coming already, but we're wanting it, you know, just to keep on smoking. I use one of these chef alarms kind of to monitor what's going on inside. You just want to not hit bone, just stick it in a little ways and get it reading. And you can see here, we're sitting about 127. I've got my set point on 160. That's my wrap point. It's not going to take any more smoke once it gets up over to 150, 160 range. All you're going to do is build up that bad foul taste and bitterness on the outside. That's why we wrap. It's not to speed up the cooking process. It does help you a little bit, but really the wrap is to protect the butt, to keep it from getting too bitter. Want some more color on it, we're going to shut the lid down. 4-hour mark, 5-hour mark, we're going to watch it, and we'll get it wrapped once my alarm goes off. If you don't have a thermometer, they make cheap ones, man. Get you something you can see that internal temp, because it's hard to say that you need to wrap at the 4-hour mark or the 5-hour mark. That's a rule of thumb. We go by temperature, and that's the best way. So we're going to keep cooking. We'll check back on it in a little bit. This is an 8-9 hour cook, so y'all stick with me. Okay, we're right at the 5-hour mark on this pork butt, simple style. And my alarm was going off. It hit 162 over here. That's the perfect time to wrap. So I'm expecting it to have really good color. We're gonna get it off the cooker, get it on a couple layers of aluminum foil, get it right back on. Then that's gonna protect it. It's not gonna get any darker in that foil. It's gonna hold some of that moisture, some of that rendered fat in there and make a lot of juice. Here you can see we're starting to get some really good bark on it. It's got some good color. Pull the thermometer out. You want to have some insulated gloves on when you do this. I use these white cotton glove liners and just a nitrile glove, that way my hands don't burn. But the wrap process is real simple. Now, you could put whatever you want in this foil. If you wanted to add some apple juice, if you were basting it, but cooking them this way, you don't really have to, especially with this Heritage Compark meat. It has so much fat, internal fat in the meat, that it's going to render, it's going to make its own jus, and it's going to be really moist, really tender. So now we've got it wrapped up, protected, and I'm just going right back on the pork rack. We're going to continue letting it cook. I'm going to slip my probe back in, slide it back in the same spot, and then just wrap around the probe. It's not very difficult. There we go, we're hitting our alarm temp. We got it wrapped up nice and tight. We're going to adjust our temperature here for our target of a 195. So I'm bumping my alarm up. And it's probably going to take 2 to 3 more hours. You know, we're expecting it to run 8 hours at least. 8-pound butt, that's about normal. But still stick around with us. There's nothing really to do, just maintain your temperature. No matter what kind of cooker you're cooking on at this point, just keep your temperature constant. You don't have to add more wood, so we don't want more smoke. We just want it to cook and to reach that plateau of about 195 to where we can really make some good pulled pork. Stick around, we'll show you what it looks like when it gets through. Hey, it's right at the 8.5 hour mark, and my chef alarm just went off saying that we're sitting at right at 195, so I'm ready to get this pork butt off, bring it inside and let it cool down a little bit. And instead of just picking the whole butt up and putting it on the platter, I usually take get the whole pork rack, which makes it easier to transfer. Now we're ready to go inside and let it rest a little while, and we're going to unwrap it, and I'm going to show you what it looks like, finished product. We're back in the kitchen now, and I've let the butt just kind of hang out for about 30 minutes. I want it to stop cooking and just relax, let some of this moisture redistribute back throughout the meat, because the whole time we're pushing all that rendered fat out of this butt, and you can see there's some of the moisture's already started leaking out of the foil where I moved it off the rack. And we didn't add anything to this wrap, and I kind of want you to see how much juice is collected. So here we are, we've got it unwrapped, and you can see a lot of that juice that's kind of run out on the side and still in the foil. Notice we didn't add anything at the wrap. This is pretty much what you get with one of these Heritage Duroc pork butts. Look at that, I mean, it's got an instant read thermometer in it. When that bone comes out clean, it is done. There's a little bit hanging on that I got to try there. Now that's got good flavor. Now I'm just going to slide this butt right off this foil. I'm ready to throw it away. And this is I caught all this moisture, and I do this because it is great. I mean, look how much cooked out of that 8-pound butt. I mean, that's a ton of jus that's cooked out. And it's great mixed back with the pulled pork. As you can see, I poured the rendered juice off here, and it's, a good 12 ounces. And I'm gonna let that get cold, and we'll take that fat off of it, then you can heat it back up and mix it with this pork. But, now, it's just time to break it up. Of course, I'm gonna go for what the good parts are. Right in the front of that butt, that's the best part of it. This stuff, it'll just fall apart. Still smoking hot. That's good pulled pork. All right, that's pretty much wraps up how you cook a Boston butt, just a simple technique. I'm gonna try to save the majority of this butt into whole pieces because I'm gonna store it. I've got a few other recipes I wanna do later on with some of this, so when you're reheating, it's better if you leave it in whole, bigger chunks to reheat to keep it nice and moist. Hey, if you like what we're doing here at How to BBQ Right, like our channel here on YouTube and check us out on Facebook. Send us those questions, man. We love to hear the responses, and we'll get back to you. If you got any ideas, as always, send them my way.